Hi, my loves. This video is a little overdue, but I thought that I would take the time to make it now. As you've seen in one of my previous videos, I went to the Beauty and Community Beauty Expo here in Orlando, Florida. Go back and look at my video. I showed a very positive experience of that event. And I also have been seeing a lot of kind of both sides of the spectrum of videos about this event. And I really wanted to give my absolute honest feedback on how I believe that the event went. And I have a lot of pros and I have a lot of cons. Let's get started as we walk through some of our products. I'm going to take the items that I received in my swag bag and my VIP bag, and we're going to try them out together right now. A couple of things that came in the swag bag is this beauty clip, this little Innovate the Label charm. I am wearing my Beauty and Community head wrap that they included. This is definitely a usable product. The charm, I don't know that I would necessarily put this anywhere. A little disappointing to see that some of the funds went to something that might not be an actual usable product, and I understand why they did this for their own marketing. They are a company that put on this event. I just felt like some of the funds could have been used in other places to grab more value for the consumer. And I'll get into that in a little bit as well. Also not gonna get into these products today. I did get some different types of face masks, an aloe mask, cucumber, pumpkin, tomato, and carrot. That'll be saved for another day, but those were part of the swag bag that we received. Start with a little bit of brow and lash serum. Just want to start by talking about how I initially was planning on associating myself or attending the Beauty and Community event. I have about 20 years of event planning experience and working events on and off throughout the years in different capacities. I have been a event volunteer in the past. I have been a vendor at events in the past, over the past 20 years, and volunteered at like multiple different types of events, conferences, festivals, music festivals, yoga festivals, things of that nature. I have also been part of teams that have created very large festivals and very large conferences. So I've worked in actually every area of event planning, from being a volunteer to being a vendor to being the volunteer leader to being the individual that actually planned everything from start to finish, including catering, including sourcing vendors, including creating the budgets, allocating the budgets, grabbing speakers for events. Really, I've worked in every area of event planning and created these large events myself. I've run through every type of aspect that goes into event planning. And so I knew right away that I really wanted to offer my expertise, to be a part of helping put this really big undertaking together. So I filled out a volunteer application and I met with what I assume is either the owner of Innovate the Label or one of their staff members. And we spoke about my experience. And during the interview, she was very, very kind, but I didn't get the sense that she really cared much about my experience of event planning. I got the vibe very early on that they just were looking for people to kind of do some of the smaller jobs, like running the check-in table or passing out the swag bags or whatnot. And again, I was completely fine with that. I was happy to help out in whatever capacity that they were needing. Just excited again to attend the event. After we spoke, we left things off on a very positive note. She said that she would be in touch and that she was grateful for myself reaching out and grateful for my willingness to volunteer for the event. These also came in my swag bag. I think these were actually part of my VIP bag. A general admission individual got 3 items to choose from and VIP got 6. And so I believe I picked these collagen under eye patches. They feel really nice. I like these. Next, we received these little perfume samples. Frida Kahlo. So I'm just going to spray this real quick and see if I like it. Oh, that's actually so lovely. That's something I would wear. Definitely has like a perfumey scent, and I don't typically go for things that are overly perfumey, but it's nice and floral. I also received this aloe spritz, which is great for Florida. Just love anything that contains aloe. That has a really nice scent to it. After I spoke with her and she said she would be in touch, I heard nothing. There was actually 0 communication. They never reached back out to me. So in my mind, I assumed that they were not interested and had moved on and moved forward with other volunteers. So I went ahead and bought a VIP ticket. Really grateful that I bought it during the early bird pricing and that I did not buy the full price VIP ticket, because I do not believe that the value that was given from this event was anywhere near the worth of the ticket price. This lip liner is from Cara Beauty Line Up Long Lasting Lip Liner. About 2 weeks prior to the event happening, I received an email asking to reserve my preferred volunteer spot. I was genuinely shocked by this because there was absolutely no communication in between the months prior that I had spoken to the owners or the ladies at Innovate the Label and when they sent me, okay, let's place you, which was 2 weeks before the event. And so I very kindly responded in an email and said, I am so sorry. I was going to volunteer for the event. I never heard from you. So I assumed that you had moved on and weren't interested in my help. And I made plans with my friends at this point. I bought a ticket, made plans with my friends, so I can no longer volunteer. They were very kind in their email back. They said, oh, okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. This is a nice lip liner. I'm not sure that it's a color that I would naturally reach for, but I kind of like that it's something different than I already own. I'm going to pair it with this Bubble Babe Juicy Gloss Stick. I don't know if it's going to be the right match, but it's probably the closest thing I have in this bag. So I was very disappointed by that lack of communication, but I was also still excited to attend just as an attendee. When I got to the event, I had 2 girlfriends that had also bought tickets to the event. They had purchased general admission. I was the only one with the VIP pass. We arrived a little bit before 2 p.m., which was when VIPs were supposed to be allowed into the event. One of the big selling points for a VIP ticket was that we got access to the event an hour before general admission. That did not happen. My friends ended up being the very first people in line for general admission. When I got there, the line was wrapped around the building. So what seems to have happened is that more people bought VIP tickets than bought general admission, which kind of doesn't make VIP very special anymore when there's more VIP than GA, which I found a little odd. But I think the most difficult part was they didn't even open the doors at 2 o'clock to start letting the VIPs in. That happened, from what I can tell, at maybe about 2:15, 2:20. The organization of getting people into the event was so insanely mismanaged. I personally think it was because they were understaffed. One of the reasons I'm making this video is because it absolutely broke my heart to see other videos on TikTok of people who volunteered for the event saying that they were treated so poorly. It was so disorganized. and they would never choose to volunteer again because they just weren't treated with a lot of respect. You know, these volunteers work so hard. Well, I have to say, I actually love this. This will get a lot of views, not with this lip liner, but this feels like a really great product. Bubble Babe, love this product. By the time I got to the front of the line, the doors to get in, it was about 2:50. So I was entering just prior to 3. So my promised time of having access to the event as a VIP, which I paid for, just didn't happen. I think that the volunteers and the creators of the event really started understanding how upset the VIPs were that this was happening, that they finally just kind of opened the doors and started letting everybody in, including general admission. So my friends who paid half of what I paid got in 10 minutes after me. So what was I paying for? That was pretty frustrating. The next lippy we're going to try is this Rose Oil Tint Gloss. This packaging, you'll see when I open it, is so pretty. Walking up to the event and seeing how long the line was and how many people showed up, I think they said they sold somewhere between 650 and 800 tickets. I was so excited to go inside and see how many vendors were there. When I walked in, it was very overwhelming at how much empty space there was. There didn't seem to be as many vendors as would be warranted to sell that many tickets, in my opinion. So that was disappointing. I mean, look how gorgeous this is. This is so pretty. This might be my favorite product. I haven't tried it on yet, but this might be my favorite product that came in our bags just for the packaging. They finally checked me in after waiting in line. This is a nice glass. I like this glass. After entering the doors, I was then met with another long line. And that line was for anyone that wanted to pick up their second swag bag. So whether you got the 3-bundle swag bag as a GA member or a 6-bundle swag bag as a VIP member, you could then grab your swag bag. That was another very long line. I was immediately advised by a volunteer to not wait in that line. They asked if I had pre-bundled my VIP swag bag, and I had done that before. So they said, don't worry about it. All of your things have already been packaged. You'll get what you had asked for. Go enjoy the event and come back when this line has died down. So I took that advice, and let me just say, that line never died down. It only got worse. So by taking that advice, I then had to come back later and wait in a longer line. I spent 75% of my time at this event waiting in lines. 75%, I'm not exaggerating. That's just unpleasant. That's just an unpleasant experience. And I didn't even stand in the lines for the booths that had the long lines because I was so fed up with lines that I just didn't want to spend the whole time in a line. I had chosen to go to Angel's masterclass, and let me just say, he did an awesome job. I loved him. However, because I was so late getting into the event as a VIP, his masterclass started at 3:30. I really wanted to get a seat in the front of the room, so I chose to walk over about 10 to 15 minutes before his masterclass was going to begin to get a seat in the front. Next, we're gonna try this little keychain lippy from Topmika. So I sat in that seat so I could get a good seat for a good, maybe from 3:15 till about 3. Someone came on stage between 3:30 and 3:45, maybe 3:40. It was supposed to start at 3:30. Ooh, that's a lovely tint. And so finally, after at least 20 minutes of sitting there, after I had waited in lines, came on stage and said that his masterclass was now being pushed back a half an hour later. Great, so I just sat for no reason and wasted more time where I could have been out in the event, just because of a lack of communication. At that point, I had had enough, and I didn't want to continue sitting when I was there to experience an event. So I forfeited my seat, went out into the event, and came back at 4 o'clock when the event was starting. And by then, there were no seats. I had to sit all the way in the back just because somebody had told me the wrong thing again. Last lip product that we're trying out is this lip cream in color by Beauty for Real. I will say Angel did an amazing job with his masterclass. He was very engaging with his audience. Beautiful, beautiful work. I did not get a chance to attend his booth at all during my time there because his booth had the longest line. And after spending 75% of my day in lines, I didn't have it in me to stand in his line as well. Well, that is pigmented. I think this may go pretty well with that first lip liner that I was using. I might really love that combo and have to do another video on that combo. But this is quite lovely. A couple of positives. It was so lovely that they had individuals with hors d'oeuvres walking around because obviously there was no food for sale at the event. And it was a long event. Nice that they had a little something to get everyone by. I would have actually much rathered to have the ticket price lowered, not had any budget allocation to free food, and then just options to purchase my own food there. I would have preferred that. I will say the hors d'oeuvres were a nice touch. I think that the tickets for the drink package were crazy. The drink package cost $50. I did not find that the drink package was worth the price. I also thought that the music was a really nice touch. They had a wonderful DJ who did a fantastic job. I was a little confused by some of the music that was happening indoors. I think I saw a guy playing a clarinet. And again, that's cute, but kind of crazy to allocate money towards something unnecessary like that when the money should be allocated towards gaining value for the consumer. Here's the big issue with what went down at the event. This event was marketed as an alternative to Ulta Beauty World. And we all know what the expectation at Ulta Beauty World is. Girls paid $160 for a ticket and went home with thousands of dollars worth of swag and free samples from vendors. I'm going to be trying out this gel eyeliner. We all understand how Ulta Beauty was marketed. There was definitely an expectation that this event would be similar. I think there was a total of about 18 vendors, and I received samples from 2 of them. 98% of the vendors were not giving out any type of samples, so everything was for sale. I understand that the vendors need to sell. I was also very shocked at the price that the vendors were paying to be at this event. I felt like they were robbed by that price. But to market this event as an alternative to Ulta Beauty World and not have any vendors giving out samples is crazy. Absolutely insane. And that, I think, is the number one reason why attendees were so furious, because a lot of us don't understand where our money went. I did some math, very loose math, and from what I can tell, it's very, very clear to me that Innovate the Label made a large profit from this expo. The money, the value did not come back to the consumer. And kudos for them. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have made any money. They put a lot of work into it. These events are very hard to curate. They did a lot of things right. But the 2 things that they did wrong is they didn't market it fairly. They misled the people who attended, and they used that opportunity as a major cash grab. I don't even believe that they marketed it correctly to their vendors. So they made out. Good for them. Good for them as a business. But in the process, many people feel scammed. And I wouldn't say that that's a misrepresentation, that people were scammed. The last product that I have is from Artist Couture. So this is Angel's line. It's a little shimmer. Overall, the event was absolutely beautiful. If the ticket price had been lower, if the event had been marketed for what it actually was, which was an opportunity to meet local beauty companies, if this had been marketed properly, that attendees would show up, get to experience these local vendors, learn about their products, and purchase from them, I would have said that this event was such a massive success. But that's not what happened here. And that's why people are feeling scammed. That's why many people are saying that they won't go again next year. I genuinely hope, because I submitted very honest feedback when they sent out the survey. I genuinely hope that they listen with curiosity and compassion and don't take it as a personal attack, because it's not. I hope that they listen to the feedback from the community and adjust accordingly and make it better next year. But I do think that the PR for them this year, it's not a good look. Tell me in the comments, what do you girlies think? Do you think that you got your value? You got your money's worth? Or do you feel scammed as well? I'd love to hear from you all. So let me know. Let me know in the feedback if you feel like my assessment was fair, if I missed anything, if you had a different experience. I really hope that people had a wonderful experience. I've seen both sides. Unfortunately, I've been seeing some videos lately where some of the comments about the volunteers not being treated well, there's just absolutely no excuse for that. Just can't get behind it. I do want to say again, these types of events are wildly challenging to put on, and not everyone's going to be happy all of the time. This was their first time doing it. I really think they put their best foot forward outside of what appears to be a pretty significant cash grab. I do believe that these girls want to make this better. I hope that they take this feedback to do so. I have no hate towards them. I will look forward to seeing the changes that they make for next time, and I will make a decision whether or not I'll attend in the future based on how they respond to this feedback. That's all. That's my honest review of Beauty and Community. These were all the products that I just tried on that I received in my swag bag. The only thing that I didn't show you, there was a hairspray and a curling foam. I have dreadlocks, so those aren't super applicable for me, but I'll give them to friends and family. I will say for my VIP tickets, I did not receive the value of what I paid for. That's unfortunate. Wish that I had just gotten the GA ticket, to be honest. Anyway, I love you all. I love my beauty girlies. I love our community, and so much respect for all of the vendors that were there and worked so hard in the heat and were so generous and kind to all of us. Met some amazing, amazing humans. Onward and upward for the future. Bye, girlies. Left one product out, girlies. Beauty Sleep Overnight Lip Mask in Pink Champagne. Very nourishing. This is a good one.